Tracy Davis.
And I'm your host, Patrick Trevino.
And this is the Labor Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today, Monisha. We have been so looking forward to this podcast and hearing your story.
Yeah, she went to school in Boston, so I'm excited.
So much for having me. This is going to be really fun.
Oh, we're so excited. Well, you tell us a little bit about who you are, your background. Who is Monisha?
All right. So, to Virginia undergrad at UVA in Charlottesville. It was beautiful. And I thought I wanted to be a journalist. I thought that was going to be my calling. I worked at the student newspaper. All 4 years, was on the managing board at the end, and realized that doesn't leave you much of a life.
You're working around the clock.
Saw lots of 2 a.m.s, 4 a.m.s,
yeah.
lots of. It was an amazing experience and definitely set me up for having lots of ambitions and dreams about what I wanted to do.
And what not to do.
And what not to do, because I was like, this is going to be really difficult. So I pivoted and ended up going to BU, Boston.
Just to one historical city to
Yes,
another
and a
historical city.
good trend, right? Went to BU for grad school and got my degree, a master's in corporate public relations.
Wow.
And decided I'm going to do communications, but I'm going to do it on the other side,
Yeah.
do it on the company side, which may have a few more normal hours, which depends. I've seen. And so my first Lotus Development Corporation,
Yeah, I know Lotus. The
the
software?
123,
Yeah.
and Lotus Notes, which was basically the precursor to the internet.
I remember Lotus Notes.
And, you know, I thought I was the coolest cat in town. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm living in Boston, I'm working in Cambridge, we're, you know, at the software company, and the internet came.
Oh, yeah.
And I ran into the internet in the early 90s, and it really changed the trajectory of my life, because here I was thinking, I'm thinking, wow, this internet thing is really cool. It's going to change how we communicate.
Yeah.
Little did I know at the time that it really changed how we do everything.
Everything.
Have kind of that front row seat. And in fact, I remember that we had a LAN, right? It was like a local area network at the time, and we had to make a special case to get Mosaic put on my computer. A special approval of our system. But I was like, we can't wait, because people are finding out things from this thing called the internet, and if we don't get on it and we don't hear what people are saying, we're missing out.
So you already had that foresight early on.
I was like, we've got to get
I missed the boat.
You're making me miss Boston right now. So
I do miss Boston. I had some great times, and it was such a great jumping off point. But that's really how I got into the internet. And so the vast majority of my career has been focused on digital media.
Okay.
I spent 13 years at the Weather Channel.
Oh, so, because little do you know, Pat is the weatherman. Every day, this person wakes up and watches the weather for like literally hours. It's not even the weather in Atlanta. It's just the whole
already
world.
be my
I know, I think we're totally jiving here.
I mean, you went to Virginia, which is a great school and a beautiful area, a lot of history there. You went to BU, which is a great school, a lot of history in Boston.
In the Weather Channel.
You're an OG when it comes to the internet, right? And
No.
Wow.
now the Weather Channel. I wake up every day watching the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
Still?
Still.
I don't watch anything. I wake up to the Weather Channel, and then I may go see what Bloomberg's going on.
Yeah.
But mostly it's the Weather Channel.
He refuses
Wow.
to watch the news.
Why do you care what's going on in Oregon? Just leave me alone.
But sorry, I just had to make sure you're aware of that.
No, absolutely. So when I joined in 2000, Weather.com was a startup. It would go down all the time, right? Like it was oh my God, the site's down, let's go put it back up, blah, blah, blah. And at the time, you could do a zip code and you get a 5-day forecast. And that was it. So we built everything around that since that. So we built like interactive radar, we built severe weather alerts, we built the 10-day forecast, interactive maps. I mean, it was an amazing, amazing experience. There were so many talented people that were there at the time. We were privately held, which was such a great positive thing during that time, during the internet boom, you know, where everything was about making the quarter, and we did not have to worry about that. So we were really innovative, got to work on some incredible projects. One of my favorites was mobile radar on your phone. So we built that on a flip phone with green dots, and thinking, cool, but is anybody going to want this?
Yeah.
And then
and
realize
Pat on his razor looking at the radar.
That's not your background.
And you realize now you can't get a phone without it.
Yeah.
And everybody just expects it to be always on in their pocket 24/7, right? So that was, like I said, just unbelievable experiences and challenges. Like we really were challenging ourselves to figure out new things and pushing the envelope, and really respect. And I'm so thankful for my network of alum that we worked with that we're all still really tight with and have connected in different ways since then. But I speak so fondly of it. And then I decided that I really wanted to go startup. I really wanted to take all my experience. I'd also worked at EY. I had some lots of big companies. Really wanted to kind of put it to use in the, and really having a seat at the table and really building businesses, not just products. So I kind of shifted my mindset. And did a couple different startups, HR tech, ed tech.
You started them, or you
worked for them?
Okay.
And then realized
in a positive way.
In a really positive way. Yes.
Somewhat healthy, but
and so energy. You're challenging yourself every day. Learned so much because I was kind of out of my comfort zone, and having to kind of put on all hats, and did that. And then my growing children, I'd never been at home with them. My eldest was about to leave to go to college, and I realized I needed to take a beat with her, and she wanted to also play college basketball, and so we had to do the recruitment trips and travel and all that, which was a lot. So I was like, I have always wanted to start my own business. I had that in the back of my mind. I was like, this is the perfect time to do it. So stop the startup world, stop the get off the merry-go-round for a minute. Folder, I don't know if you guys have, but I had this folder of all these ideas, of business ideas. I was going,
a paper.
I love that folder. I always encourage everyone to do that. Like, have a folder. You never know. So I took out that filtering through and said, okay, what do I want to do? And what I really found then, and even more so now, is that so many of us are challenged with how to juggle the multiple roles that we are doing. Because we're not just one person, right? We're 6 or 7 people.
Different hats.
And even in the one role, you're trying to keep up with a lot, especially with technology, the good and the bad, right? Technology is fantastic. It helps us with so much, but then we're always on.
So distracting.
And the notifications, and what do you check first? And all of a sudden 3 hours have gone by and you haven't gotten any. What I realized was throughout my career, and especially my time at the Weather Channel, where I had 2 young kids, and my husband was a partner at EY, so he was never home.
Oh yeah, wow.
I had to figure it out. And I had cobbled together like all these little tips and tricks and hacks, really hacks before hacks were hacks, of, how do I keep on top of it all, and how do I not lose my mind? And so
that's the key.
That's what I decided to do. I founded Productivity 101. And it really started with the app Priorigami, and the app was a task management app. Like Fitbit was the idea. Like Fitbit was the craze at the time. And I said, Fitbit's been really good about helping people, keep up with steps. I tried it. I was obsessive. I had to throw mine away. So, yes, I was terrible. It was not good. Priorigami does that for tasks.
Where did the name come from?
So it was priorities, but making it fun.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Was the whole idea. Because I think that's the one thing I wanted to get out of this, and especially with the book that we'll talk about too, was that productivity feels heavy and boring and like work, and it doesn't have to be. Like, it really should be about, my definition of productivity is get the stuff done that you need to quickly so you can spend more time doing the things you want to do.
There you go. That is the way he is wired.
We're hanging out.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that is, I always tell you, just because you're busy doesn't mean you're being productive. On that component to it.
That's right.
And I like what you just said there. Like, I truly believe, I actually live that way. Like, people make fun of me all the time, but like, I'm always like, hey, like, I'm obsessed with laundry. This is completely
She's finding out all of your dirty secrets.
But I have a thing that, like, I'm not hand washing, so like I literally will go and do laundry right when I wake up. Like, it's the first thing I do. I start to get my coffee. I start to load the laundry,
the wildest
and I let it like do its thing. Why I do that is because if I can get it done early, then I can go enjoy the rest of my day.
That's right. It's not hanging over your head.
Correct, and I do not feel like it's in the back of my mind of something to do. And take me away from the moment that
you know what you did? That's what that's called.
That or it's a slight addiction. We're not sure yet, Monisha. We're still working. It's true. So you develop the app, and it's
And tried all of them.
Yeah.
And all of the apps are too complicated, and it makes it feel like work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh my gosh, I got to update my app, and I got to put in my tasks. So it's like,
Right.
it has to be simple, and it has to be something that you really don't even begin to think about. Like, you just do it.
Yep.
And so that's how Priorigami was born. And it literally is like personal tasks, all those little things that you keep trying to remember in your brain, and your brain is not good for
Oof,
remembering
yeah.
those
Right.
things.
Yeah.
Right.
You just put them in there, and then it tracks how many you get done. It congratulates you when you get 3 done a day.
need to
It
sign
makes
up
you
for this.
prioritize your top 3 because you can't do it all. So priority, just pick 3, and then it gives you like a little dopamine hit sound reminder, like
No, I knew he was
SOS.
gonna
You
say
literally
this.
need this app.
My-
And
I
one
know.
feature that's just fun is you can pick your sound, right?
Ooh, oh
So whatever kind of floats your
That's
boat
so
and,
cool.
Yeah.
and
That's
motivates
awesome.
you
So we're
to
gonna
do
be
something
downloading
more.
this today.
Absolutely. My number 1 is laundry.
And what is really interesting, everybody uses a digital calendar, right?
Yep.
But very few people have a central to-do list.
Yeah, it's true.
Very few.
Yep.
They have it on Post-it notes. They have it
That's
sometimes on their desk,
Yeah.
but then they think of something and they're not at their desk. So it's really remarkable how few people are actually have a system to manage the things they have to do, while everybody seems to manage their time.
Yes.
Correct.
And then the big joke that I tell everybody is we all talk about and obsess on time management, but that is the one thing we can't control.
Yeah.
You can't make it go quicker. You can't make it go slower. You
Yeah.
can't stop it. And why are we focused on time? What we need to focus is on how we're spending our time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Too, yeah.
And so what I think about and focus on the things we can manage, which are priorities,
Yep.
energy, and attention. And those energy and attention are things that I don't think anyone's really talking about.
No, they're not. At work and at our own business, we're always talking about productivity and how do you increase it. But it is around time management. And now you're switching our brain a little bit. I like this.
I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's everybody. It's not just you guys. I'm like, you can't control that.
Let it
You
go.
know, as
The
much
love
as
of
you
God.
think you can, Yeah. So you have the app, you kind of go into this, I kind of want to go a little bit backwards on a little bit, like the transition between startup, well, you went from the Weather Channel to a startup,
Yeah.
and then to your own, being
your
your
own
own
startup, yeah.
Yeah.
your own startup. What was that transition like? Like, why did, because I always tell people, like, startup life is way different.
Yes.
Than any
Absolutely.
well-establised, well-oiled machine
Yes.
corporation. And
It's not for everybody.
And it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's very few people that can transition from one way to the other
That's right.
successfully.
Yes.
Right? So what was that like for you?
For me,
going from-
one of the things like throughout my career
Yeah.
and what I mentor others with is never let yourself get comfortable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the minute you're comfortable, it's time to go.
Yeah,
you
It's
stop
time to
growing.
do something
Yep,
different.
yep.
It's time to challenge yourself. And I was in that situation where
Yeah.
like I went from the big company, went and did amazing things, did the startup, that was incredible. And I was like, well, I've never done this. I've never
Yeah.
created my own business, start from scratch, learn everything. And so it was a challenge.
Yeah.
And it was stuff I didn't know how to do. I mean, I'll never forget. I always had ops people. I had legal people. I had accounting people,
All the
right?
resources, yeah.
So, but now I had to set up my own QuickBooks and do my own P&L, and I had to
So different.
do my own contracts and figure out when do I need a lawyer, when do I not need a lawyer. And I remember one time I was trying to figure out how to redirect a domain. Well, I normally called people for that, right?
Right.
So I'm like, Monisha, you were smart, right? It took me all afternoon.
But it's so fulfilling.
And it is. I literally was doing a dance by myself in the kitchen going, oh, I did it, I did
Yeah,
it, I
right.
did it, you know? And that there's something really remarkable in, you know, putting yourself in a situation where you're not quite sure you can figure it out, and you do.
And you
Yeah.
grow of time faster. When you try to figure it out yourself and you learn it, you grow 10 times faster than someone
Yeah.
teaching you and training you for
Yeah.
it.
But I also think it also shows you yourself, right? It shows to yourself that you can do it. If you put your
That's
mind
right.
to it and you put,
That's right.
you put effort into it and really strive. Because I always tell my team, startups and entrepreneurs and everyone I talk to is like, did you really give it all your effort though? Like,
Yeah.
did you really did you go all in to really understand what you were doing and what you were trying to achieve? Because sometimes if you take half a step in and then it doesn't work out, you give up and
Yeah.
you're like, I'm going to go call in reinforcement. It sounds like for you were all in. You're like, I'm
All
figuring out this.
I'm
thing.
going to make commitment to
Right.
myself, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I mean, I may not do it very well, but the thing that I missed, there were a couple things I missed. One was it gets lonely.
Yeah.
It's really lonely when you're having a conversation with me, myself, and I.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
like, well, do
Talking
you like
to a wall.
this color? Do
Yeah.
you like this color?
Right.
Should we make this decision? Should we make that decision? You know, it just gets really lonely. And so then, you know, I would find my own group
Yeah.
and try to build that. But the other piece that I really missed, and you wouldn't be surprised to hear this because this is so much of who I am, it's just mentoring and team development.
Yes, yes.
Right? Really building team, growing people, team alignment. Like that, I get so much joy from that I was like, well, it's enough for me to challenge myself, but then, there's just a big missing piece of it.
To me, like, you're very self-motivated.
Have you always been that way your whole life?
I talk a little bit about, my background. So my parents were from India. I was actually born in England.
Okay.
And we immigrated to the United States when I was about 10 years old, which was a very tough time to transition.
That's hard. Yeah.
That's why I don't have an accent. It comes back if I go back to England. But it was really difficult. Firstly, being, an Indian in England in the late 70s, early 80s was a very difficult time. And so, there was discrimination. I remember being called Blackie Packy. And I was like, well, I'm not even from Pakistan, I'm from India. But I mean, kids are kids and they're, and so that builds a lot of character and resolve and you don't even realize it, but it happens really young. And then we moved here. And people would like point at things and say what that is, and laugh at my accent. Like I was just a creature, or like I didn't look right and I didn't sound right, and especially at that age, if you're different,
absolutely.
And you really become a center of attraction when you have lots of differences, no matter what they are. So I think a lot of my resolve came from that, like those life experiences.
You're toughened skin throughout that too.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna let this stop me. I'm gonna go do it.
We had another guest on that we were talking about when sometimes incidents like that or moments like that in people's lives paralyze them. And then some people just kind of go in this like victim mentality where they can't get out of their own way because of all these things. And they see those hurdles not as challenges to overcome. They see them as almost like they're hurdles that they can't pass. And that's going to become a gate and they're going to close that and now they're going to move on to something else. And it sounds like for you, you're like boulder.
You bulldozed through the gate.
To my parents, like, oh, what are we going to do with this one?
We'll send it to Virginia. So you go from England and you move to Georgia? Or?
To Virginia.
To Virginia. Okay.
Yeah. And then Boston, and then we went by the way of Cleveland.
Okay.
So I ended up at Cleveland for a couple of years. My husband went through the national rotation for EY there.
Okay.
Not a lot of internet going on there. So I ended up doing a stint at EY and actually built their knowledge bases using Lotus Notes. So that whole connection worked to my favor. And you'll get a kick out of this. My job was webmaster of EY.com.
Stop.
When that was one person's job. And I would literally create HTML files and FTP them to the server. And for the most of them, they were Gap. Accounting firm. I had no idea what they were. I was like, I don't even know what this is, but I know how to create HTML and FTP them to the server.
Wild. So you really were at the very beginning of all this.
It was like cute FTP and and get the file up there. And then I think while I was there, I think they started to realize that, I think this is much bigger thing than just putting some documents on a site and calling it a day. But that was a nice claim to fame. I was I was at EY.com.
Is that where you met your husband?
So we met before that.
Okay.
But what happened, the challenge was I go to Cleveland with thinking I'm this amazing tech maven and nobody's heard of the internet there.
Steve Jobs, the lady Steve Jobs.
That's what I thought. Anyway, so I get there and they're all like steel, industry, and I'm like, Keith, nobody's heard of the internet here.
Oh yeah,
like they don't even know.
Very different clientele.
Which is so funny how even Cleveland's evolved. So Cleveland, I don't know if you guys know, but Cleveland is the hedge fund capital of
I didn't know that.
Of the Midwest. It's one of the largest hubs for that.
Yeah, it has changed. It was the turning point was when we got there. We got there in '96. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame had just opened.
You brought the first computer to Cleveland.
I brought the first computer. The Jake had just opened. The flats had been revitalized. So it was very much a turning point. And honestly, when I first went there, I stayed working remotely for Lotus. So I was a remote worker when it was not easy to be a remote worker. I mean, I literally had to connect in through a modem. It was challenging, but we did it and we worked it. But we made it work. And I think back, I'm like, how did we do things? I didn't have Zoom. We didn't even have, we basically had email. We didn't have collaborative tools.
Right.
But we made it work. And
That's impressive.
but then again, it was like, how do I meet people? How do I get connected? And that's how I ended up at EY for a while.
That's
And then
amazing.
we got transferred to Atlanta in '98.
So there's a lot of funny jokes in my head going
Yes,
on.
go for
I
it.
always think of like scenarios where like you're in the middle of doing something and then your husband picks up the phone and kills the internet. Like I think like back in the day when it was like connected to your phone jack and then all these other things come in.
The good news was he had to go in the office.
There you go. You're like,
So you didn't have to worry
out
about
of
any
the
of
house.
those things. So you go from Cleveland, you go from the startup side, then you go into the startup side of things, right?
Well, that was then when I came here, it was the Weather Channel.
Or the Weather
And then
Channel, and then the startup
So we went a little bit backwards, but it's okay.
Just because I'm obsessed with the Weather Channel.
Yes.
What made you go there? Like, what was that opportunity like? Was it they were just out looking?
It was more that I got to do cool things
Yeah.
with technology.
Okay.
Like they
Cool.
really were intent. So it was very interesting. The Weather Channel was a great case study, right?
Yeah.
Because they were the TV
Mm-hmm.
and they were trying to build their
The
weather.com
internet. Yep.
business. And at the time there was this huge struggle between, we're making all the money. The cable side's like, we're making all the money, but it's getting sent over to the .com. And there was this
Kind of
tension.
butting heads, yeah.
And then it happened again while I was there to mobile. Right? Like, well, we're now making all the money, but now it's going over to
Yep.
development the mobile. But they were very fortuitous and willing to invest in that
Right.
next thing and
Yeah.
not kind of hold their guns on, well, we're a cable network, right?
Yep.
And thank goodness. But to be part of that was pretty remarkable.
So as you go through this whole phase of it, then you said earlier you used to write everything down and like those snippets, how to do this, how to do that. Is that how you came up with the idea of the book?
So the book came, it was in my head the entire time.
Yeah.
I was like,
in that folder you kept of
it was,
ideas?
even with the app, I
Yeah.
wanted to write a book.
Yeah.
And what I ended up doing was writing a blog, right?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
So I just started doing a blog, but I didn't have distribution.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of these things, you really do need the book. But I had no
Right.
idea what to do, what do I even
Yeah.
do? I can write it, but I have no idea
Yeah,
what
what
to
are
do
those
with
steps?
it.
Yeah.
So it was literally in my head for about 10 years, just swirling around like, gosh, wouldn't it be nice if I could get this in front of people? But I just didn't know what to do with it. Well, coincidentally, along the way, and in like 2017 when I had the app, I got introduced to Jeff Hillemeyer.
Yeah.
And serial entrepreneur, and he's a productivity aficionado, loves this stuff. So when I launched Prayorigami, I sat down with him. I'm like, hey, I want to, share this app.
get some feedback.
And he does a million things, right? His hands are in everything. Well, over the years, after that initial meeting, and this is what is such a great story about networking, you never know who you meet
Of
when
course.
and how your roads
I always think it's serendipitous.
cross
Yep.
paths again. So in the interim, while I was doing my thing and he was doing his, he started a publishing company called Ripples Media. And so all of a sudden I connected the dots. I'm like, wait a minute, Jeff's done this and so we connected. I said, look, I've had this idea for this book for years and I don't know what to do with it, but I really want to do that. And it was, again, honestly, it was another of those challenge myself.
Right.
I've had it in my head, why not try to do it?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how to do it, but it doesn't mean I can't figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, I have this idea. He's like, let's do it. And so the writing part was really easy
I was
for
going to say,
me.
I have to understand the process. I'm so intrigued.
The writing part was very easy, partly because I think I'd been living with it for
Yeah.
so long.
Right.
And I practiced it. So it literally was just getting
ingrained
it
in
on
you.
paper,
Yeah.
right? I'm like, just figure it out, put it on paper, organize it, that kind of thing.
Did you have like set writing times? I mean, what was your process?
So I do.
Yeah.
I kind of start with that, but then I also talk about the ebb and the flow, and
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't flow, so you got to give yourself a break. Like sitting at a blank sheet of paper is not helpful to
Writer's
anybody.
block, yeah.
And it happens, right? So, and then other times it's 2 a.m, and all of a sudden your head's full of ideas, and you're like, oh my God, I got to write this down.
Oh, that's the worst. I hate those
But it
moments.
happens,
It does.
right? And then there are nights where I'll wait, and I'm like, oh, well, it's not as good as it was in my head at 2 a.m, right? The original
What
was
was I
so
thinking?
much
Yeah,
better.
right, yeah.
So you kind of have to give yourself some grace,
Yeah,
like
you do.
try to plan it, but then work around what's workable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I called it practical. Was there's so many books about productivity and how you should do it, and this is the way, and da-da. It's not, right?
Yeah.
You've got to find what works for you, and I really believe in that. It's like you got to test and try and just keep what works and throw out the stuff that doesn't. And there's no right way.
There
There's
isn't.
no right
Everyone's
way.
so different. Everyone's brains function so differently. He and I couldn't be more different the way we
Completely
function.
opposite.
Yeah, which makes it good. It's a
Yes.
golden partnership then, right?
So you write the book.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, how long did it take
Yeah.
first?
How long did that take?
So I was under contract in August, and I had pretty much written the first draft by the end of the year. So about
Oh my
4 or 5
gosh,
months.
that
But
is
again,
really fast.
I had a lot of it.
Yeah.
Right. Like I had some blog posts. I had it in my head, once I got excited about the project, and then of course we went into editing. We went in, so a good 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
Which again is probably on the quicker side.
Which we can talk offline because I have like in my head I've always wanted to write a book.
Yes.
It's just a personal goal of mine. I've always wanted
Yes.
to write a book. And it's always like I'm more of a scatterbrain everywhere, and I try to organize things.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of kind of outlining it for yourself to see like where I'm gonna start,
Yeah.
where I'm gonna go. Like how did you think through all that? Like how did you process all this? Because it's been in your head for 10 years. You said. So like how do you get all those thoughts and align them for yourself to like, okay, I'm gonna start here, or was it just I'm gonna type it and we'll figure out where we're gonna
So
put
you
it?
and I are operational people, right? I don't just type.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm trying to get to because I'm like, it's gonna take me 2 years to plan this out.
And that's what I do. It's like
Yeah.
you really kind of organize it, start with an outline, chunk it, move it around.
Right.
I kind of had like the game plan in my head
Right.
before and then filled in the holes as I went along.
Okay.
But there are people who just sit down and write. That There are
Yeah.
people who that works for them. So again, you just kind of have to find the process
I'm
that
more
works
in
back
that way.
for you.
I'm actually terrible at that type of structure.
I started journaling.
I have
Yeah,
to be free.
that's a great way
and
to
then I
start.
started writing outlines to my journal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why am I structuring my journal? Like it's supposed to be my thoughts.
Yeah,
Okay? And
it's
so,
a whole nother story.
I want to know how you came up with the name. Did you always have that name built in when you were thinking of this for 10 years? Practical productivity?
No, I think the juggling act part
Yeah.
was there for a long
Right,
time because
right.
I just feel like that's what we're all trying to do, and there's
Yeah.
no right answer,
Yeah.
and it felt very something everybody
Yeah.
could relate
Yeah.
to.
Right.
And then I don't like the word productivity, but that's what it is.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There's no way around
And then
it.
practical to me was the differentiator,
Yeah.
right? There's so much theory out there, like the getting things done, and all the stuff that in this space is
Yeah.
very theoretical. And I wanted it to be something that people could put into action straight away.
Yeah.
And so the way it's structured is every chapter is 2 or 3 pages because
I know, I love that.
it couldn't be like hard to get through a productivity
Right.
book, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
That's my
drudgery.
favorite part.
Yeah.
I can read through it in the morning and just,
chapters.
yeah.
It's too much.
Right.
And then each chapter paragraph. So if you don't want to read, you can just read the try this paragraph.
I love it. Too long, good read.
One paragraph per concept, which basically gives you kind of hey, give this a try, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, move on. The other thing that I wrote it so that it doesn't have to be read in order. So it's not like a novel where you have to start it and finish it. And if there's something you're struggling with in that moment, find that. Procrastination, is it list making? What is the thing? And just focus on that one thing and then pick it back up later.
Love it that people can read the book, right? I would read
Yeah.
the whole book, right? But
Yeah.
then also use it as a reference.
Yeah.
Use
That's
it
right.
as a reminder, right? Hey, I'm really struggling with this point at this part. Let me open the book and exactly go to this section and reread it. Maybe get advice from it and go from there. I like that. I like that structure.
So, in it. Out of curiosity, what is your favorite productivity hack?
I love the simpler ones, and I don't know whether that's like a cop out because it's like, oh, it's so obvious. But like the 2-minute rule.
Yeah.
Do y'all know the 2-minute rule?
I don't know. Please tell us.
Do you know it?
I do not.
No.
No.
Okay, great. It really is this simple.
Yeah.
If there's something you need to do in minutes, just do it. Okay? So simple. I shouldn't get an A+ for that.
Yeah.
I will tell you, it will change your life.
It gives you that momentum, I feel like. You feel like you've accomplished something and it gets you going.
And there are things that you remember to do
Yeah.
later. And there are so many things, like even if you do it for a week, that's the other thing I say. Try it for a week. You can do anything for 5 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do it for a week and see what it feels like. And so there are so many things like taking the trash out. How many times are you like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll do that later, I'll do that
Oh
later.
my
3
gosh,
hours later,
this
it
is
still
amazing.
hasn't been taken out.
Yes.
And it's hanging over your head. And
Yes.
get it off of your head.
Done.
Get it out of the way.
And then
Done.
go into
Anything.
the app and check it off.
And check it out. Well, don't even put it, 2-minute rule you don't even put on your list.
Yeah. Tracy
Clutters
just
up the list.
She just likes this noise that
Yes.
the app's going to make.
I know, I'm excited about that.
But the 2-minute rule, it's so stupid simple.
no, but it's true.
And if you do it, and it gets to the point where you never even think about it, right? A lot of the things on here, if you do properly, you don't ever think, I don't do it.
It's already ingrained in you now.
But there's the amount of things that take under 2 minutes.
For things that I'll use it, we're going to pick on you.
Oh, lovely.
And so, I'm just returning the favor from a previous recording. So a good example would be like gas, getting gas.
Yes.
Right. You need gas.
Yes.
Your car, or electric, or plug your car in, whatever type of car you drive. Tracy will drive by 4 gas stations, knowing the fact that tomorrow she has to go to the airport, and it's probably going to be on a time constraint because she has to get there.
Right.
She creates a time constraint that doesn't exist to not stop at the 4 gas
why
stations.
don't we go into this?
Right? But to your point, if you just do it,
You never thought about
it's
it.
quick. It's boom, get the gas, go tomorrow, and for the rest of the week you don't have to worry.
You know he's going to be calling out this 2-minute thing.
Every day now.
It's gonna stand like this.
Yeah, it'll be like Tracy 2 minutes.
2 more minutes.
But that's really good advice. Honestly, I hope that our listeners can challenge themselves to take that on, because it's true.
Absolutely. What feedback have you gotten about the book, out of curiosity? Because it's been incredible to see you shine. I know a lot of people are giving you such amazing feedback about it.
Yeah, it's very why I wrote it, right? I was literally like, I learned this the hard way. If I can help people just with 1 or 2 things that are significantly impact them, then I've done my job. That's what the whole point was, right? And it has been so humbling to see people's posts or their feedback and the things that they've said about just simple things like that can be really significantly impactful to how people are, trying to manage everything. And
I would say life-changing too. I mean, because you really are changing people's lives.
Yes.
Because sometimes people can get out of their own way.
That's
and
right.
you're providing them a roadmap of simplistic things that they can do to better themselves and better their... Like, there's a lot of high-strung people that literally can't get out of their own way, but I'm going to go back to the 2-minute rule, where I'm just stuck on this rule now. Like, little things that you can just chip away that, to your point, just become a norm that you don't even think of it anymore. It doesn't stress you out anymore. It doesn't bring anxiety to you because you're literally just going to go do it.
That's
in
right.
2 seconds, like the laundry in the morning.
Yep.
And that's exactly right. That was the whole point. But one of my so I wrote this book from the perspective of mom trying to juggle it all. And I really do think there was a crossroads in my career where I thought I couldn't do it. Like, it was a farce. Like, I had been sold a crock.
Yeah.
And that, I had to choose. I couldn't be the mom I wanted to be and the wife I wanted to be and the manager leader that I wanted to be. And I really had to kind of come to terms with that myself. And I said, maybe I can't do it the way that it's predetermined and predefined, but maybe I can figure out my own way of doing that, right? And so we talk a lot about work-life balance. At one point in my career, I had a pie chart, and I was trying to make it all equal.
Wow.
And I was like, no.
Do you believe in a real work-life balance?
No, but what had to redefine it for myself.
Yeah.
And what I was trying to do was not the right route. What I had to realize was I only have one life to live. And there's a chapter on this on there, was that you have one life, and some days it's work, sometimes it's life, sometimes it's other stuff. And that's okay.
It is.
Right? You've got to figure out what's most important and critical that day.
Yep.
And go with it. And the next day it'll change, and the next hour it might change, right? But this whole idea of this equilibrium is a farce. It's a joke. And there's so many people who are chasing that dream and exhausting themselves, to be honest, and always feeling less than in every role. And you're like, well, I can be the best that I can be today, and then tomorrow it might be different, right?
That is such powerful advice.
But it took me a long time to get to that. So I was like, gosh, if I could get people there quicker and just relax a little bit and not feel... Because again, going back to this whole idea of time management, there's another problem. It's a math problem. You guys like math, right?
Well, he does.
Well, you're an analytics company. You like numbers. You like numbers, I should say.
I like the number side.
So the whole idea is you've got 24 hours in a day, right? That if you write down all the things you're supposed to do in 24 hours, it's not enough time.
It's not possible.
You can't do the 8 hours of sleep and the 8 hours of work and the commute. Oh, and you've got to work out and you've got to eat healthy, and there's not enough time. And that's not including the things that we do, which is go on social media and watch TV and read and all the things that we want to do that fill our cup. So guess what? You have to prioritize.
Yeah.
You have to, because you can't do it all.
You can't do it all.
So the sooner you realize that I can't do everything I'm supposed to do, now the onus is on us to figure out, well, how do I want to make that? So I kind of went around, but going back to one of my, I was saying that I wrote the book from the mom's perspective, but there are 2 audiences that have really gravitated to what's in here. One is entrepreneurs, especially those who have come from a corporate background, because they've been given deadlines or they've been given priorities and they've been given goals. When you don't have those, it's really overwhelming, right?
Overlooking your shoulder,
So how do you build accountability?
For yourself.
How do you not try to do everything? How do you learn when to say no? all of those things are really critical things that entrepreneurs have to learn, and sometimes, again, the hard way. And then the second group is young professionals. And that was surprising to me, but it makes sense because they come out of school with all these structure and skills. You get thrown out into the wild, wild west, and nobody's taught them any of these things.
Which is
wild, right? They haven't had to learn any of these skills. So I was mentioning my son graduated from Auburn, and so a lot of his friends came to the book launch party.
Awesome.
And at graduation, this girl comes running up to me. She's like, "Oh my God, I loved your book. I loved your book. It made such a difference. Chapter 36." And I'm like, "What is chapter 36? I can't even remember what it is." And it was the one about how I had forgotten my phone. And you think it's the end of the world, right? And the chapter is called "I Forgot My Phone, I Survived." Yeah. So she shares this story. And again, for her age and her generation, it's even different. They've never been without their phones.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
They
miss those
live
days.
and die by their phones, right? So this is another challenge for you, Tracy. So she decided for senior night she wasn't going to have her phone. She did not have her phone for 5 hours, which was an eternity for her.
This is amazing.
Yeah, he's encouraging me to do this.
And she said, I was so worried I wouldn't have it for photos. I wouldn't have it my texts. She was really worried. It was the best 5 hours. She goes, I was so present. I didn't miss my phone. Nothing happened. Other people took plenty of photos. There was, I didn't, and that to me was like, okay, this is why I wrote this book, right? And there's so many of us now who don't know how to separate from our phones. But if you do, your brain changes. I'm telling you, it just changes. Even if you do it, like I go on walks, I won't take my phone. There are certain times, like I have no phone times, and your brain changes, and you've got to do that and allow that. You're just like about to burst, right?
Because he is a big,
So
big
I'm a
proponent of it.
big
Proponent of it.
yes, because. So I read this book, and we'll share books offline. But, I read a book once where it said the worst thing you can ever do is wake up in the morning and check your phone.
Yeah.
Before you even
Yes.
grounded yourself.
Yes,
Right?
that's right.
You're already setting up yourself for disaster, right?
Absolutely.
And so your brain operates that way, right?
Yes.
Goes into hyperdrive already.
And so that's one. Two, we just went on a hike this weekend, and she's like, it's kind of weird hiking with someone because usually I'm listening to music.
Yeah,
or
listening to podcasts.
And I go, music? You're surrounded by trees and nature.
Yeah.
You're supposed to hear the birds
Yes.
and be grounded. Like,
Yeah.
I'm from New Hampshire, right?
Yeah.
As I told you, so I'm scared a bear's going to show up. I want to hear the bear coming. But I don't even bring my phone. Like we went to dinner yesterday, and I left my phone behind. If it's an emergency, I have my watch, and I can see if somebody calls us if it's an emergency.
Yeah.
But I don't want to bring my phone because I don't need it for the dinner.
And do you feel different when you don't have it? Yeah, you do.
I do.
Yeah.
I feel it's
Freeing.
It's freeing.
It is
It's just
freeing.
the right way of thinking thing. But even when I'm working, I shut off my phone. I put it in a drawer.
Yeah.
I don't even want to see it.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to be.
No, it totally makes a difference. That's in the book. Like put it in a drawer, put it in another room.
Correct.
Because all these people are like, I can't focus. I'm like, well, you're not helping yourself.
So I'll use just the funny thing of like when I tell people like what the difference between busy and productivity, right? Is distractions is the worst thing to productivity.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And
Absolutely.
so if you just put the phone away, right?
Eliminate the main distraction.
Eliminate the main distraction. And sit there for 2 hours and really focus on what you're doing. You'll be surprised you get something that you thought was going to take you 8 hours. You used it in 2 hours.
Yeah. I even talk about 20 minutes. Yeah. Like 2 hours to this generation is a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Start with 20 minutes. And it is amazing. But even 20 minutes, it's amazing. If you can do 20 minutes of focused work, is amazing.
Gosh. All right, I'll start doing it.
Perfect. That's a challenge.
I'm
We're both challenging you.
I am pledging here. As an entrepreneur, and I started the company, I'm so wired to be available at all times for all people.
Yes.
And like 3 in the morning, if a client needs me, I've got to be there. And it's so ingrained in me. And after 6 years of doing this, it's so hard to rewire that. Well, we have a team. One, I'm not needed the way that I used to. I don't have to do it all. And the business is going to keep functioning if I don't answer my phone. And that's what he's been gently working with me. I put quotes around gently because you're a brew.
I need like 8 copies of this book and just put them all over the house.
Well, I want to get our team this book.
Just keep remembering.
I want to make sure.
Oh, and I do workshops too. I'll be happy to. Yes, I'll come do a workshop. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
We do a prioritization workshop.
What does that look like?
I mean, you tell me. I customize it based on what you need.
So
I've done.
She does workshops. So she'll come
So I've
to
done
you.
one on just productivity secrets. Like we'll do things like the 2-minute rule and go through some things, and then we talk about them.
Okay. Well,
I've also done 10 tips for time management, which you already know the punchline is you can't manage time.
Yeah.
So we go through it, and then we're like, surprise, you can't.
Right.
And then we've also done just Q&A. Like, what are you? I call it Stump the Productivity Expert challenges, and let's work through them, which are some of the best.
Yes, and I think people don't realize that it's really self-inflicted. A lot of this, you know, if you're not aware of it because you've been doing the same thing the same way for so long, and then you look at the end of the day and you're like, I didn't accomplish anything that I needed to, but you're not aware of why because you just go into this autopilot mode.
Exactly right.
And so I think it's really nice to be able to stop and have someone kind of shine a mirror to you, shine a light of like, what you're doing is actually, to your point, not productivity. It's just busyness.
Yes.
You don't need to do all of these
And
things.
it's exhausting, right?
It's so
It's
exhausting.
exhausting.
It is so exhausting.
To your comment, though, about your team, long way, is just tell them. I am not available from blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And they will leave you alone.
They do.
And it's amazing because they're like, oh, that's great, good to know.
Who's ever been told to any entrepreneur, any owner, or anyone who is managing people, projects, product, is that you can't step away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the biggest lie, and it's actually counterproductive.
Yeah.
It is okay to be a CEO, a founder, a president, and go on PTO.
Yeah.
It's okay to announce it that you're on PTO and you're not to be bothered.
Yeah.
I read a lot, so one thing that I've read before is you're never going to know what's a weak point in your business until you
don't
step
know
away,
that.
and then you see it being exposed. So when you come back, you know what you need to work on with your team to fix.
It's true. It's self-inflicted.
The other thing is you give so much credit to your team when you say, I trust you, I'm taking this time.
Absolutely.
And then I just did a workshop at Jackson Healthcare for their women's network. Yeah. And women especially, you know, they're all working all week, doing everything, burning the candle at both ends. Over the weekend, they're still doing it. They feel guilty. One of the ladies was like, I really feel guilty if I do anything for myself. I'm like, let's reframe that.
Yes.
You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it to be able to be the best mom and employee you can.
For other people. Yeah.
Because if you aren't taking care of you, you can't do the best.
So true. I'm a demon. If I don't get my sleep, if I don't get, like, I turn into a completely different person. And I've had to learn that the hard way. Because, you know, when you start out with any business, or whether you're owning or you're working, you're putting in these late hours, you're doing everything, but then you can't show up the next day. And not only for your team, but for your partner, for everything.
It's all about learning things the hard way, because it's basically everything I've ever done wrong and had to figure out a better way to do it.
And then
the chapters at the end are things I still do wrong that I literally had to write for myself. I'm like, I had to write the asking for help, saying no. Like, those things are things I still struggle with, and I have to reread it and remind myself.
Yep. So what is using these tips? I mean, do you create your task list in the app? Like, what are those handy things?
Do you create your husband's task list and send it to him?
No, I had to let that one go.
That's why she's still married.
Again, you have to learn. Like, okay, is that going to work? No, that's not going to work. That's making us miserable. Let it go. That's a productive strategy. You got to toss those out, right? And that whole thing of trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, that's real. Just don't go that way. No, I do have routines. Yeah. I also know that routines get, thrown out. So you've always got to have a plan B, which is part of the plan. Absolutely. Like, be flexible. I do look at my to-do list. I plan the week, so I do a Sunday night. What's coming up? Where are the conflicts? What are some of the things I need to prepare for or plan for? And then I think people get annoyed because I'll send the Sunday night emails like, I don't know where this meeting is, or are we still doing this? Because I'm just kind of looking ahead. And then I do it in the morning. A lot of people do it the night before, but I look at my calendar, what's booked, what time is left, and then pick my top 3 priorities for the day. So I do that every day of 3. And sometimes I get more done. I do really try to hit the 3. And I kind of slot them in. I time block, because I believe in time blocking.
I do too.
Like, you can't have a full calendar and think you're going to get 10 things done. That that's not going to
Again,
work.
Math problem.
And another math problem. And you're going to feel bad about yourself at the end of the day. This is not about making yourself feel bad.
For you now.
So can I share a
Right?
question?
Like-
So, like on my calendar, I call it focus time.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm focusing on priorities of things I need to get
Yes.
done, right? Because if
Yes.
you leave your calendar available all the time,
People throw
It'll eat it up.
on there, and
They'll eat it up. That's right.
again, so like, is that kind of what you're
Yeah,
insisting?
I put it on there, and my team knows what I'm working on.
Yeah.
I put what I'm doing,
Yeah.
so they know.
So when I was
And they know my priorities. And when they know my priorities, they know what's important.
Helps align the
Yeah.
team.
It all
Yeah.
helps. It all aligns.
That
And there are some days where I put my walk on. I want them to know. And then they also know I'm not reachable in that 1 hour. They know I don't take my phone on my walks.
See, that's so smart.
This is amazing.
Yeah. He's like, my life has changed.
Well, because it's true. Everything that you're saying is resonating personally to myself. Where I always tell people, like, even our staff, is like, if you have a doctor's appointment, just put it on there so we know we don't bother you. We don't put something accidentally in your calendar that causes stress to you now.
That's right.
Because you're trying to balance driving to the doctor's, Atlanta traffic, and all this other stuff that's going on. Just be transparent. Hey, I'm not available at this period of time. I have this to do. You talk about walks. You talk about things about putting on my calendar. Like if I'm working on a massive proposal, I'll put proposal right now.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You have to.
AKA, don't call me right now. I need to focus my attention on this.
Absolutely.
To do this. I like that.
And they will. They will. And they'll know, like, oh, well, he's available then.
Right.
It's going to have to be a cultural shift. We're so used to being available for people whenever people need. And that's our own faults. But I mean,
I crack a funny joke. I was like, I put like therapy session because of staff. No, I'm just joking. That's a joke. 4 o'clock to 5.
So what's the future look like? What are your goals for the book? What's going on?
What's next with the book?
So, I in the workshops. I mean, it really gets, just like you guys just did. Like, you just lit up on simple things. And so I'm getting a lot out of that. So any opportunities for that, I'm very open to doing that.
absolutely.
Okay, we'll
Especially
put
in
that
those 3 groups, this entrepreneur group, like your guys are dealing with a lot of just growing pains things, right?
Girl, you know it.
And then young professionals. So I'm trying to talk to, even college kids, like
just
getting
gonna say
into
that.
college kids.
Yeah,
Yes,
high school, college, like, these are key
absolutely.
lessons.
So this is where I'm trying to take it, is like get it into those groups. And then, I'm talking to some intern groups, who are just learning, because it's all value add.
It is.
I find it valuable for anyone who's about to graduate college.
Yes.
Because you go out into the real world, to your what you said earlier, and you're kind of just thrown there.
That's right.
Right? And they're like,
Sink or swim.
Yeah, and then there's so much bad influence around that, right? Social media, you're supposed to find this work-life balance. You're going to make $300,000 a year, but you're going to work 20 hours, and then you're going to go to Malibu and go surfing. And it's like, I don't know where that is, but show me where to get to that point. But why I bring it up is I feel like this is such a valuable tool for someone who's, don't pick up any bad habits if you can prevent them by getting them when they're in college, getting them when they're in high school, telling them that because it's a practice that they can take into their young career.
Absolutely.
Even for studying, even for the actual college experience, if I knew these tips in college, I would have gotten way better grades because I
would have helped you there.
So that's the other thing. So publisher have talked about me doing a young adult version of it. Like take the same concepts, just write it in terms of what they're doing, like studying for a test, or just in terms of what they have on their plate.
I'm stepping into a mentorship program for young women, young ladies in high school that are in a STEM Innovation Academy. And
how fun!
Yeah, and so they're wired already with that technology. They're handling a lot of stuff, and they're all about to start their new businesses. And I want to bring this to them. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to them about it.
Here, I'll tell you just a funny story because I like to tell stories. I recently was at a college campus for a system that we were launching for our other company, and it was in a learning commons area or a library. And I was told all of my teachers, we can't talk when we walk in there. We have to be very quiet. Like this is I'm talking to them outside. Yeah. Like someone can hear me outside. We walk in. It was a concert. Everyone's on their phones. I'm like, is anyone studying? Nobody had a book. There was like no physical book. Yeah. Everything was like completely digital. Everyone was watching YouTube. Someone was watching soccer while they were typing their notes. And I take myself back to when I was in college. And
you couldn't talk in libraries.
You couldn't talk.
I
had to send the index card to go find this book so they can go help me find it.
What is that Dewey Decimal System, right?
Yeah.
We had to find
the reason why I bring that up is because there's so many distractions
Yes.
that are impacting them on the productivity of what they're
Yeah.
actually trying to achieve.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you doing this in schools
Yes, would be
is
powerful.
powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
So lots of opportunity.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just scratched the tip of the iceberg.
That
I
is so
agree.
exciting. Do you have any future books on your list?
Oh, I have a couple. Although, you know, writing the book is just the beginning.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing I've learned through this is like you really start over once the book's released in terms of, you know, talking about it, getting it out there, marketing it, you know, book sales, and more than book sales, it's the talk, doing the talks and the, you know, all these workshops and all that kind of stuff. So that's a job in itself,
Oh my gosh,
but I'm
yes.
enjoying it. So want to get the most out of this, but I do
Yeah.
have a couple more in the back of my
I can't
mind.
wait.
What was that feeling like when you finally got to touch it, physically touch your book?
I
It's
remember
like,
you posting it on
yes,
social media.
right,
She
the
has a
video.
Yes.
Oh, so I haven't seen the video.
Yes,
so,
I loved it.
so what was that like? What was that feeling in terms
It is. It's like having a baby, right? Like
love
you
it.
have thought about it for so long, you've anticipated it, and then it comes out, and you're like, oh my gosh! And then you get into panic mode,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like so, you have
What's
this
next?
moment of joy, but then you're like, oh my god, the vulnerability! I put myself out there.
Yes.
What if everybody hates this?
Yeah.
What if you know?
People don't talk about that enough. It's true.
It really all of a sudden panic sets
Yeah.
in. You're like, oh my gosh, you really are putting a part of yourself out there. And it was interesting when I was working with my publisher on this because I really helped guide and give context and feedback on it. And they really wanted me to add a lot more of my stories to it. And I'm like, well, I wanted to write about a book about productivity, not about me, right? Like I didn't want to write a memoir or anything. I just wanted to, and I was very, very focused on getting to the point. Like, get to the point, move on. Get to the point, move on. But I've heard, and the feedback I've gotten is adding that context and adding those stories has given so much more to the book. But it is nerve-wracking. You're literally like, oh my God, what are people going to think of me? I'm like, so.
But it definitely makes that connection because, like you were talking about the cell phone one, that you talked about, you had a connection with someone saying this meant so much to me. It changed my night.
Yeah.
Right, and it's one step at a time. I cannot wait to read this.
I
book.
know. I gave it to
And I've been
him,
so busy
it's
this
sitting
past
on-
week. It's sitting there, and I was like, I cannot.
I've started. It's an awesome book. I haven't finished it yet, but it's been amazing to read through. We are so happy and so proud of you. And it's really fun to see you shine. I mean, she comes to our events, and you have been such an amazing leader to me, to everyone around you, and just thank you so much for sharing this with the world. The world needs it. So. Any last words before we let you, share your word of where people can find you?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is where can people find you? Where can people buy your book? Where can people book you for workshops? Let me know because I'm about to book you.
Yes, let's do it.
Absolutely. Like,
How
where
can
can
people
people
find
find
you?
you? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's the best place and easiest, most common place. The book is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you name it. It's on all those places, so you can find it there. But and then, reach out to me on LinkedIn for booking anything. I'll do anything because that's the whole point is get it in front of many people as I can.
Well, we are going to be booking you soon.
Okay.
So I will reach out to you, and we're going to get our team this book as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
You've
both
been
too. So fun.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
All right, let me get a